Good evening. I'm David Swotek, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. The Huskers are busy swinging bats and catching pop flies on the men's and women's sides. Let's start with the women. Number 19 ranked Nebraska softball is heading to Knoxville, Tennessee for the super regional round of the 2025 NCAA softball tournament this weekend. They will face off in a best of 3 game series against the Tennessee Volunteers, with the first game starting on Friday at 6 p.m., Saturday's game at 4 p.m., and Sunday's game is yet to be determined if needed. All softball action can be heard right here on the HRN. Now to the men's side. Husker baseball had quite the game last night. Michigan State and Nebraska met up to face off at Charles Schwab Field in Omaha for the first round of pool play in the Big Ten baseball tournament. Michigan State started strong and kept the strength throughout the game, making it 4-3 Spartans in the bottom of the ninth. Joshua Overbeek hit a high fly ball to right field, which looked like the end for the Huskers, but the right fielder dropped the ball. This led to Nebraska scoring and forcing extra innings, and Robbie Bolin then hit the game-winning RBI and to give the Huskers the 5-4 win in the 10th inning. The Huskers continue pool play this Friday at 6 p.m. against the top-seeded Oregon Ducks at Charles Schwab Field in Omaha. That game can also be heard right here on the HRN. Finally, some NBA action. The MVP has been announced for the 2024 to 2025 season, and it's a win for the Center State. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander put up one of the best guard seasons in NBA history, leading the NBA with 32.7 points per game. SGA is originally from Canada, making him the 7th MVP winning in a row to be born outside the U.S. He led his team with 31 points with last night's victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves, 114-88. Game 2 of the conference finals is tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. at the Paycom Center. Timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Coming up next is the first hour of Sports Nightly, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Looks in the pitch. Harry rips one through the left side. That's a base hit. Overbeek scores. Getting the wave is Cotton. He's around. He's burning up the line. Dives into home. It's a 2-run single for Dylan Carey. And what a time for Nebraska to take their first lead, 10-8 Huskers.
Took to the belt, the 1-1.
Hale swings and drives a high fly ball to right. Malott to the track, to the wall, and it's gone. Cale Frost, a 2-run home run. And Nebraska's pushed the lead to 10. It's 12-2 Cornhuskers.
Now the 3-1. Kuszak swings and lines in the left field, down for a hit. Williams will score standing up, and Nebraska has mercy ruled southeastern Louisiana and has rampaged through Baton Rouge with 3 mercy rule victories and the regional title in Baton Rouge in 2025.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Nick Hanley, on the Huskers Radio Network.
And welcome into Sports Nightly, a full 2 hours headed your way. We're going to talk a lot of softball and baseball. We're in the midst of the postseason, so lots of fun things to talk about there, including just a magical night up there in Omaha for Husker baseball. Come from behind, walk-off win and extras. I mean, you don't script it any better than that. Nick Hanley joining me here for the first segment, because you're actually pulling, double, triple duty up there. You're doing Sports Nightly, you're doing PA announcing and calling games for the Huskers radio. I mean, what can you not do, Nick?
I just want to set up a cot up here, I need one booth, just put up a little air mattress. They got TVs in all the booths, so I can set up my Netflix and whatnot and just make a night of it and just camp out here for a while. Yeah, doing a little PA and pinch hitting there and having I don't know if you heard, kind of a big game on Friday right here at the ballpark.
Yes, for sure. Well, I mean, Did you sleep last night? What a game. I mean, Huskers look like they're out of it. Somehow, magically, they come from behind. Magic seems to happen, has been happening these last couple of seasons for the Huskers up there in that Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, it really has been crazy, and to see how that thing happened. Ben and I were trying to make so much sense of what we saw, especially in the bottom of the ninth when the right fielder, Parker Pico, I mean, he has the game cinched. And he made, the thing about for Parker Pico, the right fielder from Michigan State, he made some really good plays earlier. Had an inning-saving and what could have been a game-saving catch a couple innings before where Nebraska, if he doesn't make this catch in shallow right field where he ends up falling to his knees and making this catch, Nebraska probably scores 2 and probably takes the lead and is in control of the game. But he makes that catch, and you're thinking for a team like we talked about, Jessica, Michigan State, the big bugaboo for them is they couldn't field the ball very well all season. One of the worst fielding teams in all of college baseball, but they were making so many plays behind their ace, Joseph Jerwa. And for the game to essentially be decided on a fielding error, probably on brand with Michigan State, but even though it benefited Nebraska and you're excited about it, you take a moment to think about that young man out there in right field who understands the magnitude of not making that play and how big that was. And I still don't understand how he dropped it. I've watched that replay at least a dozen times now, whether he was closing the mitt too early or it was a line drive, so did it sink on him at the last moment? Did he take his eyes off it on the last moment? And none of that is evident when you watch the replay. It just simply popped out of the palm part of his glove like there was some type of spring on it. It was just unbelievable. And when the ball was hit, we knew it was hit hard off Joshua Overbeek's bat, but we saw that it was right to the right fielder. And all of a sudden, you're immediately going to that thought of, oh my gosh, that essentially is the season right there. And then it comes out, and I mean, Ben was losing his mind, and I'm losing my mind, and I mean, the entire crowd is, and all of a sudden, you just got the feeling, okay, this has to mean something. And what's funny about it is I don't think that the coaching staff was all that thrilled that Joshua Overbeek wasn't at second base, because then the next hitter is Caden Brumball. He doubles, and that should have ended the game in the bottom of the ninth if Joshua Overbeek is at second on that one. But wow, what a just emotional roller coaster of last night. It was quite the scene.
Well, I was reading. I had to do a double take on Jared's recap, but they didn't. I guess there were points that you could be kind of frustrated. You give up runs without hits or errors with the walks, but they kept responding. And you just mentioned another instance. When you could maybe get caught up on some of the negatives, they bounce back and they just find a way to win it.
And that's been this team all year. We've seen, especially as of late in the second half, where Nebraska won 5 conference series in a row. There was a lot of drama in those series. That Minnesota series, you get the Robbie Bolin walk-off in game number 2 to force a rubber match on Sunday. And obviously last night, Robbie's the hero again. But then, of course, there's the Case Anderson walk-off in game 2 of the Michigan series that solidified Nebraska winning that series as well. You come from behind being down 8 runs in that first game against Purdue last Thursday. And so this team has gone through so many different levels of emotion, but different bouts of adversity. You know, and you go back all the way to the early part of the season when you're dealt one of the most significant blows, that your ace is going to be out for the year, and Mason McConaughey, and what that means to the team, and how do you rebound from that. And I think Nebraska's done a good job of piecing that part of it together. And then you look at a team that was struggling mightily offensively, and they're able to turn it around and start to get good contact and start using a little bit more of that experienced offense to their favor. It's just a team that I think very fitting that when you're in this very unique format where your season, even though you have another game on the schedule, your season essentially comes down to this game with the 5 through 12 seeds, that you're down by 3 against the best pitcher in the Big Ten in Joseph Jerwa, and somehow you are able to scratch and claw your way back into that game and then eventually tie it. I mean, it's unreal. I'm still blown away with how it all entailed and how it all was just put into place. But there was a moment last night, Ben and I we were packing up the gear and everything, wondering, gosh, there's a higher power at work here. And we know that we had our friend Greg Sharp's influence in that Vanderbilt game. We felt it. We had that incident with the lights, and I think there were a lot of tweets that were coming at us right after Parker Pico dropped that ball in right field, and a lot of people were making references to Greg Sharp. I don't know what it is, but this team, it doesn't matter what the situation is. And this is what goes back to having an experienced team, I think, Jessica. There's just really no situation that is going to put this team to its knees where they feel like, okay, they surrender. And so I think last night was just another example of that.
Well, how did you, because we went into it, we were talking a lot about maybe for Nebraska a little bit beneficial because they've got now a couple days if they use multiple arms. How do they feel about, again, the pitching that they were able to utilize and then now maybe rest, and then where they're set up for Friday and a big one on Friday against Oregon?
Yeah, and that was a great point on your part on Monday, of that if you did get into a situation where all hands were on deck, the one luxury, I don't love having that many days off in between games, but the one luxury is you can use all of your bullets that you feel necessary to keep you either in a game or to help you lock down a win. And Nebraska did that. Now you've got the opportunity to bring back a Luke Broderick, who will be, for the most part, rested. Drew Christo, for the most part, will be rested. Ty Horn didn't throw that many pitches as well. So if there's an emergency situation that he has to gobble up an inning, could do so as well. The only person that I would be somewhat surprised to see again, although you still could because it's 2 days and he didn't throw an absurd amount of pitches, is Tucker Timmerman. So really everybody's available, I think, at different levels, whether it's just to get a batter or an inning or even to go a couple of innings. So that definitely does work into Nebraska's favor, because Oregon, even though now they can pitch off and they're going to throw their stud on Friday because that game Thursday night against Michigan State is meaningless for them. Nebraska is going to be in a similar situation where not only are they not going back-to-back games having to go to the bullpen, but they are now in a situation where pretty much everybody's going to be rested too, and they get to watch a lot of things around them sort of sort itself out before they play their next game.
I love, and you brought up this point, but just the fact that, I mean, there's been some dramatics with this team throughout this season, but it's been different guys that have been the heroes in different moments throughout the season.
It has. I mean, you go all the way back to that. It wasn't a walk-off win in California, but a game that Nebraska was able to get in extras and beat USC. It was Devin Nunez. It was the freshman getting a line drive up the middle off one of the better closers in all of Big Ten. So it was Devin Nunez at one point. You've seen Caden Brumball come through in moments. You've seen Robbie Bullen now do it twice. We've seen Gabe Swanson pretty much the last 2 years. He is Mr. Clutch. And so it is. I mean, even a Hogan Haligzo, who in that game against Michigan that Case Anderson ends up walking off, Hogan Haligzo has just an incredible 3-2 battle going on that he ends up depositing the pitch that he can drive just over the left field foul pole for a 2-run homer to tie the game up. So it's everybody in that lineup has had their moments where they have had a very big contribution in a high leverage moment. And so again, that's why I think between the way this team feels about one another, but how they feel about themselves, especially going back to what Will Bolt's talked about the last couple of weeks, this team feels like they are playing their best baseball, even when an inning or two gets a little gross like it did yesterday. I mean, there's some weird things that happened to this team yesterday defensively that just can't happen. I mean, there was the pickoff play to second where Tucker essentially spikes it into the ground. I mean, what you're not going to see him do that. Then you all of a sudden Ty Horn, who looks like he's in control of the strike zone, ends up just walking 3 consecutive hitters. You know, those types of things obviously can't happen if you want to get to the semifinals. But the fact that they were able to understand, okay, that's one inning, we still got a shot. Even though it's Joseph Jurwa on the mound, they still got a shot. I think that again, just speaks volumes of the next man up. I know everybody says that too, right, Jessica? I mean, whatever sport, there's always that cliche of next man up, next man up. But in Nebraska's case, we've really seen a lot of examples of that.
Look, it's not over and done with, but I'm just impressed because I think we've talked so much about this. This team's had some adversity throughout the season, but they come in, they're preseason ranked. It's not gone exactly how they wanted. At this point, they were hoping to already solidly be in the postseason, that they're going to feel confident going into selection Monday that their name would be called. But the fight is just still there, and they're finding ways to kind of overcome that in ways that a lot of teams I don't think would have responded in the same way. So I know people might get tired of us putting the, positive rosy spin on it, but not every team would have bounced back and responded in a lot of the ways we've seen this team do here throughout the season.
Well, it's funny you say that because in such a very Nebraska 2025 way, they keep bringing you back. I mean, just when you're ready to say, okay, that's probably going to do it, they do something. Or just when it looks like their season's going one way and you're like, okay, I know how this is going to finish. All of a sudden they get going again and they get on a heater. And so they have that innate ability this season to really pull you back in just when you start to kind of give up on them. And I think that that's a true testament to the culture that Will Bolt has. That this year it has not been anything close to pretty with the consistency on how they've handled the baseball, how they've been on the mound, how they've been in the batter's box. Nothing about it has been pretty, but they've continued to cash in on some of those opportunities when you least expect it. And then it leads to bigger things. And so you always wonder in the back of your mind, is this leading to something bigger? Is this going to be one of those really cool stories people talk about in college baseball for a team that was expected to do a lot and then had a couple of things thrown their way early in the year, but now are starting to peak at the right time? We've seen it in so many different sports where I don't think it would surprise anybody if you said Nebraska is an NCAA tournament team. What would surprise you is how they ended up getting there. If you would have said, oh, yeah, Nebraska's going to make it to the NCAA tournament at the beginning of the season, you'd be like, yeah, they should, because they were a Big Ten tournament champs. They got a lot of those guys back. But then if you look at, okay, well, the path to get there, the overall record and what they've done here in the last 4 months of the season, you'd say, oh, wow, that's pretty impressive. So I think their whole idea is, yeah, why not us? We know we're pretty good. We've been through this stuff before, so, why not us? Why can't we be the team that's the last one standing on this mound again on Sunday like they were a year ago? And I know that this team feels that comfort here, and we said it after the broadcast last night. And Jesse, you and I have talked about this so many times with Nebraska fans. They usually answer that call to action. There's a major call to action to be out here at Charles Schwab Field on Friday night, Memorial Day weekend, 6 p.m. against the #1 team in the Big Ten and a top 5 team. Another top 5 team that Nebraska gets a chance to play. But this is the one time this year that they actually get to do so, much like when they played Oregon State. They get to do so in a very large environment that should be very home team, or at least Husker friendly. And so I think that that's also going to give this team a big lift on Friday.
Oh, great stuff. We're going to have Ben McLaughlin on the show tomorrow night, so we'll dive really into the Oregon kind of matchup tomorrow. But I did just kind of want to get your thoughts. I'm looking at the RPI right now, and it looks like Oregon is, 13 this week, and so probably not going to get into top 8, but probably not going to fall enough to lose their seat. We've seen this sometimes in conference tournaments where teams just maybe, hey, we're going to bow out of this and rest this weekend. Could this maybe be a thing that maybe Oregon might do this weekend?
I think Oregon would love to be a national seed, though. I think they would love to have that opportunity not only to host, but to possibly host a super regional, and that's not completely out of the question for them, too. So I think they'll be motivated to play, and especially given what we expect to be the scene here Friday night. I don't know how you couldn't be chomping at the bit to try to quiet down the crowd. And hey, if this is your ultimate goal to be here when there's 20,000 plus here come June, well, here's your early test of it as well to see how you respond and sort of maybe what could be a CWS light feeling on Friday. So I think they'll have plenty in the tank, and they'll be looking to get into that final weekend here. But it's a valid point where sometimes and that's the thing. How would they respond if Nebraska's able to put some pressure on them early? Do they have that same type of sense of urgency, to your point? And that remains to be seen. But Nebraska's got to put that pressure on them first and foremost, and then we'll see what that response could look like.
Listen, I covered the Big 12 tournament, baseball tournament too many times to know that that's not done, because Texas Tech seemed to do it every year. Even there were teams that had solidified their spot that they're like, yeah, I think we'd rather go ahead and win next weekend as opposed to this conference tournament deal. So just sometimes can happen. And so I just didn't know, what maybe Oregon's motivation would be.
Yeah, I hope they are thinking about next week. That would be great. I think that would be good for all parties involved if they're thinking about next week. This is a fantastic Oregon team, and Ben will break them down tomorrow. But you know what? They're going to throw another great pitcher, just like Nebraska saw last night, and just like Nebraska saw against Vanderbilt, just like Nebraska saw against Irvine, just like Nebraska saw against LSU. You name it, you go on and on, UCLA, nothing that they see on the mound on Friday again should be all of a sudden dramatically different than what they've seen all season. And I think it's going to be what Nebraska counters with. How do they punch back on the mound, and can they keep this game where what should be a very good crowd very much engaged with this Nebraska baseball team?
All right, so we dove into this. It's been a big topic of conversation throughout this week. But now that you're up there and you're in it and you're around the other Big Ten folks, do you get a sense of, just again, the format and teams being done? I mean, what's the feel up there now that they're playing up there and you've got teams that are essentially their season's done but still have to play another game?
Yeah, it's weird. And, watching the UCLA-Illinois game today, you could tell that because that was essentially the game to get into the semifinals between those two teams. And even though there wasn't a lot of people here to watch it, the anxiety in the dugouts was definitely palpable. And so I think that you sense that where you're getting that high anxiety early in these games, much like we saw last night between Nebraska and Michigan State, and how tense that game was. It was interesting that at one point in that game last night, it was a tie game. And you would think that we were in some type of rain delay because it was at a hush, because every moment was just absolutely consumed with drama. It reminded me of when you're at a home venue for basketball and the home team is getting ready to shoot a free throw, that you could hear a pin drop. So that part of it is kind of cool. As far as the talk about it, I haven't heard as much pushback as I thought I would. But remember, though, we're only in day 2 of this thing, where you're going to start to get into those waste games, those games where teams that are already eliminated are playing, and to see what their overall response is and how they look. So I think as we get into tomorrow, and even I should say later tonight, but even tomorrow, where you start getting into those games, I think that's where you're going to really get the true feel of how not only the fans, but more importantly the coaches and the players, how do they respond and playing in those games where they know they can't advance to Saturday.
All right, good stuff, my friend. Thanks for being here. I know you're wearing a lot of hats up there in Omaha this week, so appreciate you spending some time with us. And we're going to give you the day off tomorrow off the show, but we'll look forward to hearing you back on the call with Husker baseball. I guess it's set for 5:30, but you never know with the tournament pregame, right? Or you guys
we were
go
6:30
no matter
yesterday.
What at 5:30?
Yeah, we'll be on the air at 5:30. I can tell you that. But whether the game starts at 6 o'clock or later, I'm going to put my money on the over that we don't start right at 6 o'clock. I could be wrong, but we will be on the air at 5:30 on Friday for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't take the under in that either. Not on tournament with the ball bat sports. That's for sure. All right. Well, thanks again. Have fun the rest of the day out there, and we'll look forward to hearing you back here on the airwaves on Friday night.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate it.
Nick Hanley here with us on Sports Nightly. Hey, Husker, stop by your local Hy-Vee where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee, dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier. Back with more of Sports Nightly coming up after this.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Huskers on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
It's employee pricing with the Ford crew.
Employee pricing for everyone. A great time to buy.
Now everyone pays what we pay.
On Ford trucks.
So you can tow what we tow.
SUVs.
Carpool like we carpool.
And Bronco Sport.
Off-road like we off-road. But what about my parking spot?
It's just employee pricing, not parking.
What a relief. I love that parking spot.
Now get employee pricing available across a full lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Employee pricing, you pay what we pay. Only from your local Ford dealer.
Oh, should I make name tags for everyone?
It's employee pricing for everyone. They don't actually work here.
Can I still make them?
Sure.
Available on the purchase or lease of select new 2024 and 2025 Ford and Lincoln vehicles. U.S. residents only. Prior purchases and AXZD plan ineligible. Place a retail order or take delivery from an authorized Ford or Lincoln dealer stock by 7/7/25. Exclusions apply. See a participating dealer for details.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Your Nebraska Lottery has a monopoly on fun. Actually, it's our new $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket, and it's also part of a terrific second chance promotion. Until July 22nd, enter any non-winning $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket online for a chance to be one of 10 weekly winners of $1,000 or the grand prize of $10,000. Pass go and enter today. $5 Monopoly 10X top prize odds 1 in 114,000. Monopoly is a trademark of Hasbro. Hasbro is not a sponsor of this promotion.
Sophistication meets performance in your new vehicle from Woodhouse Cadillac. Explore special financing and exclusive offers happening now. Receive $4,906 in savings plus 4.4% APR for 36 months on the 2024 Cadillac XT4 Sport. Visit us in-store or online at woodhousecadillac.com. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra. Must finance with GM Financial. $299 doc fee due at signing. Courtesy transportation vehicle 3,237 miles. Offer expires 5/31/2025. See dealer for details.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. Appreciate Nick spending that first segment with us. He's a busy bee up there in Omaha this week, so we're going to go the rest of the way here tonight without him, and then also tomorrow. So Ben McLaughlin's going to join us tomorrow on the show to dive into all things Husker baseball. But did want to spend some time talking Husker softball because they've got a big super regional matchup coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if necessary, in that super regional with Tennessee. The team has already landed. They traveled today. Today was their travel day, so they are there. Tomorrow on Thursday will be a practice day, but then also the media session day. They'll meet with the ESPN crew. I'm sure they'll do some photo shoots and some videos and all that stuff. So press conferences with the local media that's traveled there or that's there in town. So it'll be a full day ahead for the team tomorrow, and Nate Rohr will join us also tomorrow on the program, so we'll be able to dive into all things happening there in Knoxville and preview everything. So he's also going to be here live with us for a couple of segments. So if you have questions, you want to call into the show, I'm sure he will gladly appreciate it. Which, by the way, we saw some texts that came in from some folks that were listening to him. He didn't see those texts, but I passed them along to him. So he also said he appreciates everybody tuning in. So if you want to call him and ask him questions going into the matchup, he will be here live tomorrow night with us on Sports Nightly. But did want to check in and hear a little bit from Coach Ravel. Ron Ravel, a few of the players met with the media today before hitting the road and getting on that flight to Knoxville. So the first thing that Coach addressed was just the plan going into Super Regionals.
You know, I think the athletes set it really well. We're really just trying to stay in our routine. I've been talking for weeks about a one-game season. That hasn't changed. We're playing one-game seasons. We're really trying to stay in the moment. We're really trying to win pitch to pitch. I think that when you get, the higher you get on the mountain, and we're getting, I mean, there's 16 teams left playing in the country, and the higher you get on that mountain, the more you have to really shrink it down and really stay bite-sized, and that's really our focus, because, you know, this is a lot. It's great and it's wonderful, but they have to get back to what really matters is, can I execute this pitch at a high level? And so that's what we're really trying to do within our own circle. So what is our script? Our script is to do that, to win pitch by pitch and let the chips fall where they may.
So the good news for Nebraska, a lot of times this time of year, teams are playing teams that they have never seen before, but Nebraska has played Tennessee. In fact, got a big win to open up the season over Tennessee back in the first game of the season. A lot is being hyped up about this pitching matchup, and we'll continue to hear about it between Jordy Ball and, of course, Pickens, their elite, the SEC pitcher of the year. And the comparisons have been made, how fast she throws and all of that. But I think the good news for this team is they had some success against her in that first game of the season. So Coach Ravel was asked about playing Tennessee again here coming up in the postseason.
Yeah, it just feels like so long ago. In fact, I was thinking about last night. It's been over 3 months since we faced them. And I was thinking about how I felt that night, and I don't know how the players felt that night. I know you're excited to start the season, but I thought that night showed us at that time with the new collection, 3 new infielders, you know, a lot of new people on the team, 10 new faces altogether, that we can compete, and we can compete with anybody in the country. And you know, we've been marching towards that. We've stubbed our toes along the way, but like I've said all along, you know, I'm not considering anything that we've done this year as a loss. I'm considering it as a learn. And that really comes because of our players and their attitude and their behavior and their want to be really good. So when they want that and they work for that, it's always a learn. It's not a loss.
All right. So, again, Pickens has thrown the fastest softball pitch ever recorded at 78.2 miles per hour, which is equivalent to 110 mile per hour a major league fastball. So that is very, very fast, but they've had some time this week, crank up the speed on the hitting machines as you're preparing this week. But, you know, I even though it was a completely different time of the season and it was so far away ago and it's 2 different teams at this point of the season, I think you can take some confidence in knowing that you did have some success against her, even though it was earlier on in the season. It has to help the confidence going into this one. But I think this team is so locked in, and we've been hearing so much about, you know, I brought this up a couple times. I asked Coach about it on Selection Sunday, but just we had talked to her coming off the Northwestern series. She had called in live to the show, and as good as that win was, that series win, as hyped up as they were about it, you know, she was telling us that they still had not reached their peak. I think we started to see a little bit of that. So I think it's safe to say, though, that this team is starting to put together their best softball of the season. And when they put it all together, they can compete with anybody in the country, and especially with Jordy Ball in the circle this time of year. So I'm so excited. I know there's a lot of hype surrounding this regional. It's the reason why ESPN is sending their A team for this one to cover this one, which, by the way, we will also hear from Holly Rowe, planning on talking to her tomorrow for tomorrow night's show. All right. So obviously this time of year, and there's a lot of people that ask a lot of different questions. I'm sure even you know, talking about Jordy Ball and the hype around her and all of that. So Coach was asked about how this team just deals with all of that outside noise.
They have been pros so far, and I expect them to continue to be pros. And, you know, we started talking when we went to the Mary Nutter in Cathedral City. I think it was week 3. ESPN was there, and they were doing preview stuff. And, we started talking probably then about the outside noise and that there are going to be a lot of distractions. And of course, people, media, we're grateful that they want to know things about Nebraska softball, but we can be in the moment with you all right now, but then when the lights are off, we're going back to being together as a team and just trying to compartmentalize that. And I think that that's really important, and it's a really important life lesson for them to learn. And I even asked the crew, we all did a Zoom yesterday, a lot of players and then myself with that ESPN crew, and I said, wow, we get this team, and they're like, we picked this regional. So I'm sure they picked it for the pitching matchup, I'm guessing.
I think that's safe to say there, Coach. But on that note, talking about Pickens, we just talked about her. I heard there just this pitching matchup, the intrigue, the hype surrounding it. Coach was asked, what's the plan of attack against Pickens?
Well, you see these lights aren't all the way on? That's on purpose. We've been hitting 75 without all the lights on. Huh. Right? And I just told our hitting coach, they're going to ask me why the lights aren't on up there, but the lights aren't on because you have to really drill down at your vision. And our game got moved to 7 o'clock. And so we did that the first time we played her because we knew we were playing a night game. And you just look for any edge you can. I mean, we've been overtraining velocity. We've been overtraining. I mean, she's the hardest thrower in the country, and we've been overtraining velocity. And we're trying to make a little tweaks. We have kind of plan A, plan B, plan C, that we can make some adjustments physically so we can be on time with 75, 76, 77.
As much as we all want to talk about Pickens and the SEC Pitcher of the Year, and rightfully so, Coach Ravel had also just talked about their staff. They've got a 1-2 punch, but I think there's no denying that this is an elite offense. There's a reason why they've broken just about every offensive statistic for a season from top to bottom. This 1 through 9 lineup for Nebraska, and I think the more they see a pitcher, the more they start to figure it out. It's what those elite hitters do, and this lineup is full of it. So being that it's a 3-game series, and the more they see her, I think the more comfortable they will feel passing that getting comfortable with facing her, but then also passing that information along. You notice that they are in constant communication from one hitter to the next on what they're seeing, how they can figure it out. So I think the more they see a pitcher, the more success they have. So I think that's beneficial for Nebraska that this is a 3-game series as well. All right, let's get to a break. We're going to talk a little bit more softball coming up on the other side of this. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Husker fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Exarban Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
Sunday morning. You can smell it. Game day. And the brisket you've been smoking since last night. A day to be with family, aka fellow football fans. Traditions make Sundays easy to enjoy. Beers do too. Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Hey Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee, dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. I'm Jessica Coody, and we're talking Husker softball headed to the Super Regional, taking on Tennessee Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I've seen, we've had some texts, seen some chatter on our chat line, also on social media. And we've talked quite a bit about this on this program, but I'm not sure everyone is aware that, you know, Jordy, of course, been nominated as a finalist for the Player of the Year, top 3 finalist. But what I'm not sure everybody's aware of is that voting has changed. And we've talked about it here on this program. And so the votes are already in. And so the only thing that factors in to winning that award, the postseason play doesn't factor in at all. So that's why I was saying I wish that she had one more weekend, but that's changed in the past. It has factored in, but this year it does not. So those votes are already in. And so I think we all agree that here around these parts that she's deserving of that award. When you're going against a pitcher and a hitter, and she's right up there statistically with both the hitter and just the hitting statistics, and then the pitcher and just the pitching statistics, and then given that she's done both. But of course, we also know about a little bit of that SEC bias and just the spotlight that's on SEC softball. But I think there's no doubt about it. She deserves that award this year. I wish she would have had one more weekend, because I think seeing what she did last weekend would have swayed several voters that might not have been able to see her as much this season. But I think what's just so remarkable, I've just heard some stories over these last few weeks about Jordy and some things behind the scenes. And, you know, I've covered a lot of teams that have had superstars, not necessarily to this level, obviously, but I think it speaks volumes about Jordy, but also the culture and the locker room and the program, that Jordy's a story and everybody wants to talk about Jordy, but you're not seeing any kind of, at least publicly, you're not seeing any kind of resentment, jealousy. And I truly believe it's genuine when you're hearing these players just talk about how much Jordy means to them. And it just does not seem like there's any ounce of that. And it can cause some disruption in some locker rooms, that when it is so much about one player and the superstar. And I think that if you hear Jordy talk, she's so quick to point it back to her team and turn it away from herself. But I think while also understanding the role that she the role that she's in and the heavy load that she carries. But, you know, we talk so much about her statistics, but I don't know if we talk enough about just the things that she does as a leader and, you know, the way that this team is bought into it. And look, I think Jordy had done enough, that she had proven the kind of player that she is, and some of these transfers wanted to come be a part of that and join forces with Jordy, and because you got to have elite pitching to be able to win and achieve the ultimate goals, and Jordy is no doubt that. But I think when you start having all these national folks come in and it's all about Jordy, and the fact that it has not swayed this team and their messaging, and they just embrace it. It speaks a lot of volumes about what they've done to build that culture in the program, but also about Jordy as well. So with this ESPN crews, and every new crew is going to want to keep going back to the same thing, because and it's part of their job is just asking some of the same questions, and it can get tiring. I this time of year when you're hearing that over and over again. But I think it's pretty remarkable that it's not phasing this team at all, as you heard Coach Revelle talking about that outside noise, and they're appreciative of it, but they also know who they are and who they are within that locker room, and it's pretty special. So excited to see them continue to pursue, hopefully, hey, let's have another upset weekend, right? All right, let's work in our final break. We're back to wrap up hour number 1 coming up on the other side of this.
Your Nebraska Lottery has a monopoly on fun. Actually, it's our new $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket, and it's also part of a terrific second chance promotion. Until July 22nd, enter any non-winning $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket online for a chance to be one of 10 weekly winners of $1,000 or the grand prize of $10,000. Pass go and enter today. $5 Monopoly 10X top prize odds 1 in 114,000. Monopoly is a trademark of Hasbro. Hasbro is not a sponsor of this promotion.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Your Nebraska Lottery has a monopoly on fun. Actually, it's our new $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket, and it's also part of a terrific second chance promotion. Until July 22nd, enter any non-winning $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket online for a chance to be one of 10 weekly winners of $1,000 or the grand prize of $10,000. Pass go and enter today. $5 Monopoly 10X top prize odds 1 in 114,000. Monopoly is a trademark of Hasbro. Hasbro is not a sponsor of this promotion.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back. Final segment here of hour number 1 of Sports Nightly. And here is what is on tap, presented by Michelob Ultra. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. If you don't know by now, you haven't been listening, because softball team, Super Regional, 6 o'clock on Friday, and taking on Tennessee Saturday, 4 o'clock, and then that if necessary game. We do not know the time on that, so I'm sure they'll factor in what other games will be on the networks and where they want to put that game. So we'll find that out if that game is necessary on Sunday. So 6 o'clock on Friday on the ESPN2, I believe, is where we will be on TV. But Nate Rohr is going to be calling the action for you once again right here on the Huskers Radio Network, so you can sync up TV and Nate and listen to him call the game. So he'll be on the air. Pregame show normally is 15 minutes before first pitch, so 5:45, and a lot of the local radio affiliates have been picking up softball here in the postseason. We appreciate that, and so you can hear him on a lot of the radio stations here, and then also on Huskers.com and on the Huskers app. And Nate will be joining us live on the show tomorrow, so we can dive in much more into this matchup against Tennessee. And baseball against Oregon, big one coming up, 6 o'clock on Friday night in the Big Ten tournament at Charles Schwab Field up there in Omaha, 5:30 pregame. So even if the 6 o'clock first pitch is moved back a little bit, the guys will be on the air for you starting at 5:30 with the pregame show. And once again, we will be talking to Ben to preview that one coming up tomorrow night on the show. But hey, they got to keep winning and advancing. But the good news is this team has done it. They did it a year ago. A lot of the guys on this team were a part of that to be able to continue the season rolling on into the NCAA tournament. The semifinals, if the Huskers were to beat Oregon, we all know that a little bit of the uproar on that if there's a tie, the top seed would win. So Oregon would have the tiebreaker over Nebraska. But if the Huskers were to beat Oregon, they'd play Saturday in that semifinals at 2 o'clock. You also heard Nick talking about needing some Husker support up there. So get on up there and make it a home field advantage. That's, again, that is what's on tap, brought to you by Michelob Ultra. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Coming up in hour number 2, big second hour for you. We are going to hear from Ava Kuzzac. So she's part of that, the Smash Sisters, as they called her and Jordy last weekend, but the first duo ever to go 2020, being that 20 home run club. Both have 2 Huskers do it in the same season. So Ava's had a chance to chat with her. What a fantastic interview. She's just got such a light. You can tell how happy she is to be a part of this program. So I was able to chat with her. And then also going to hear from Arthur Peterson, Big Ten champion from Husker track and field. Got a chance to chat with him. So he 2-time champ in the javelin for Nebraska track and field. So we'll catch up with him as well. And surprise, surprise, some breaking news for you here. We're going to switch up the schedule a little bit. Typically, we do Joke of the Week on Thursday nights, but Duke is not able to do it tomorrow night. So he's going to hop in and bring you the Joke of the Week tonight here in hour number 2. So we've got a huge second hour coming up for you. I think Duke's ready to go. He is able to adjust and roll with it. The great ones do. So he made his debut, if you missed it, a couple weeks ago. We were not on the air last week because we had baseball. So this is a second try at it. So we'll see if he can build off of his season opener and how he improves here in his second appearance of Joke of the Week. So that's all coming up in hour number 2 here on Sports Nightly. Keep it here. Much more to come.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Want to boost Nebraska's economy and help the planet? It's as easy as filling up your tank. Switch to soy-based biodiesel to cut greenhouse gases by up to 74% and support biodiesel growth.
I'm Greg Anderson, a farmer near Newman Grove, Nebraska, and biodiesel has transformed our farm. It cuts emissions, raises the cetane number, and improves fuel lubricity.
So ask for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, economy, and Nebraska soybean farmers. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Good evening. I'm David Swotek, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. The Huskers are busy swinging bats and catching pop flies on the men's and women's sides. Let's start with the women. Number 19 ranked Nebraska softball is heading to Knoxville, Tennessee for the super regional round of the 2025 NCAA softball tournament this weekend. They will face off in a best-of-3 game series against the Tennessee Volunteers, with the first game starting on Friday at 6 p.m., Saturday's game at 4 p.m., and Sunday's game is yet to be determined if needed. All softball action can be heard right here on the HRN. Now to the men's side. Husker baseball had quite the game last night. Michigan State and Nebraska met up to face off at Charles Schwab Field in Omaha for the first round of pool play in the Big Ten baseball tournament. Michigan State started strong and kept the strength throughout the entire game, making it 4-3 Spartans at the bottom of the ninth. But Joshua Overbeek hit a high fly ball to right field, which looked like the end for the Huskers, but the right fielder dropped the ball. This led to Nebraska scoring and forcing extra innings, and Robbie Bolin then hit the game-winning RBI to give the Huskers the 5-4 win in the 10th inning. The Huskers continue pool play this Friday at 6 p.m. against the top-seeded Oregon Ducks at Charles Schwab Field in Omaha. That game can also be heard right here on the HRN. Finally, some NBA action. The MVP has been announced for the 2024-2025 season, and it's a win for the Sooner State. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander put up one of the best guard seasons in NBA history, leading the NBA with 32.7 points per game. SGA is originally from Canada, making him the 7th MVP winning in a row to be born outside the U.S. He led his team with 31 points with last night's victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves at 114-88. Game 2 of the conference finals is tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. at the Paycom Center. Timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Coming up next is Hour 2 of Sports Nightly, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Looks in and the pitch. Carey rips one through the left side. That's a base hit. Overbeek scores. Getting the wave is Cotton. He's around. He's burning up the line. Dives into home. It's a 2-run single for Dylan Carey. And what a time for Nebraska to take their first lead, 10-8 Huskers.
Hook to the belt, the 1-1.
Kale swings and drives a high fly ball to right. Malott to the track, to the wall, and it's gone. Kale Frost, a 2-run home run. And Nebraska's pushed the lead to 10. It's 12-2 Cornhuskers.
Now the 3-1.
Kuszak swings and lines in the left field, down for a hit. Williams will score standing up, and Nebraska has mercy ruled southeastern Louisiana and has rampaged through Baton Rouge with 3 mercy rule victories and the regional title in Baton Rouge in 2025.
Now, here is your host, Jessica Coody, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome back, Hour 2 of Sports Nightly. Appreciate David there on the ticker for us, and should mention he is officially a graduate. This is the first time he's been in studio since he's graduated. We talked last week, he was taking photos, but he's official. He's officially a graduate, going to stick around, help us out here on the network, but congratulations to him and Henry and Jacob and Camden all graduating over the weekend. So we'll be hearing from those guys here. Some of them will be moving on at some point, but they'll be around for a little bit. But congratulations to those guys and all the graduates over the weekend. I was asking him if he can breathe yet, if he feels like he still should be doing something. I was saying it took me a while to feel like, okay, I have no school to worry about. Wait, I don't have to go to school every day, but anyways, I appreciate the work they do in managing school, and now they're officially graduates, so congratulations. And you know what was also cool, too? We didn't talk about this, but both baseball and softball, they miss graduation almost every year this time of year. I think they prefer to miss it. Obviously, it means you're playing in the postseason, especially with softball. And they had a special ceremony. They posted it on the social media pages if you missed it. It was really neat to see, and so the parents all were there in the hotel lobby and cheering them on, and so they still got to have their own special graduation, but didn't get to actually be a part of the walking ceremony here on campus. But that was really cool to see them be able to do that. All right, let's talk some more Husker softball, and Ava Kuzzac, who is a big part of the offensive lineup, part of the 2020 club with Jordy, the first Husker duo to do so. But she's going to be huge this weekend, especially as we've seen. It'll be fascinating to see if Tennessee's going to pitch around Jordy. If they do, they're going to have to deal with Ava Kuzzac. So got a chance to chat with her, and here is that conversation with Ava. Let's go back to last weekend. How fun was that? How exciting was that to punch the ticket to Supers?
It was the best feeling in the world, honestly. It's my first postseason, like go around. So just trying to take in like every single environment that I've been able to be in, and just kind of take in and each pitch and just go by pitch. Just not trying to make the moment too big, and just enjoy it, honestly, because it's the first time, and just take it all in and have fun with it.
How comfortable did you feel then, being in your first time? Did you have to remind yourself of that, or did you settle in pretty quickly?
I think going into it, I had to kind of be like, okay, it's fine. It's just another weekend. And I think that really helped me just going in, and it was another weekend with my teammates that I love playing with, and just seeing them and having them be around me cool and calm and collected around me. It helped me just kind of stay the course with everything.
What was just the confidence of this group going into it? Because I know you guys had been talking about, you hadn't even hit your peak yet, but you guys seemed to become ready to play, and you were not the only one. That was our first time playing on that stage. I guess just what was the confidence level for you guys going into the regional?
Yeah, I think we have just tried to use everything that we've prepared for like the past couple months, and honestly the entire year. We've put so much work into every single day, like practice, off the field, on the field, just taking that and just using that to build our confidence, because we have done this before, and it's just the same game that we love, and just enjoying it. And then also just not caring who is in the other dugout, and just worrying about us and worrying about what Nebraska softball is doing, and just focus on what we can do good, and just focus on, and the scoreboard will take care of itself.
Oh, that's great. Well, you and Jordy, the first duo to ever hit 20 home runs. How special is that? Just, again, the records that you guys have been able to knock down here at Nebraska.
I didn't even I didn't even know about this. We're just what? But it's just been awesome, especially just to do it with her, and just being able to do this with the entire team. I think the records with the home runs that we've done with this team, and the run rule record, I think this team is just very special, and it's just been very cool to do it all together. So.
You know, for you and even Sammy, I know you guys talk about everybody having responsibility in the lineup, everybody that comes to the plate, but when teams started trying to take Jordy out of it, how much more responsibility do you take on to help protect her, so that, hey, if you're not going to pitch to her, we're going to hit her in, and when she's on base?
Yeah, I think me and Sammy were always it's coming to us, and then honestly, when you're going up to bat, you have the rest of 8 through 9, or the entire lineup that can do so much damage. And I think every single person on this lineup wants to stand up in those huge moments, and they can do that. I think that's the coolest part about it, is if they walk Jordy, they have to pitch to the rest of us too. So I think it's pretty cool.
What is that like, being part of that, when you know, hey, if I don't have something working, somebody else is going to have my back?
It's honestly the best feeling in the world, because it just takes all the pressure off of you. You don't have to sit there and be like, oh, I have to hit a home run, or I have to do this and score this run. You just know that you can go up in the box and you just battle pitch by pitch, and it honestly helps you and helps the person behind you. And as long as you're battling and competing in the box, the person behind you, you're going to do it, or since you're competing, you're going to do it too. So I think every single person on this team, like I said, wants to do it, and it just lets everyone kind of have that confidence to just go and do it.
You know, and Coach Ravel talked about this too, just when you guys see a pitcher, you guys are passing along that information. It seems like just constantly the communication. How important has that been to what you guys have been able to do too?
Yeah, I think the coaches really prepare us, but I also think it's very player-led too. We take so much pride in just scouting and preparing for these pitchers, that each one of us can help the person behind us and be like, hey, this is what I saw, and then, hey, what's your plan? So you can kind of have that accountability with your entire team, and just know that this is what we want to do against this pitcher. And it's really cool just to see everyone just go fully into it and just embrace it and just go after whoever we're going against.
It's so fun to watch you play. I don't know if you've if you ever lose the smile on your face when you're out there on the diamond. What kind of joy has being on this team, in this program, what kind of joy has that brought you this year?
It just brings, like I said, I just smile all the time just thinking about this team. I think just this sport is just so fun to be a part of, and just be growing the sport and just being able to play it every single day and just trying to take in every single moment. And especially with this team, it's so easy to do that because every single person on this team is just an amazing person on and off the field, and it's so easy to love and just embrace every single one. So it's really fun.
That's special. With so many people that are new, what's gone into you guys gelling and having that kind of camaraderie that you guys have had that's led to this success?
I think that goes into a lot of what they've done to build this culture prior to us even having the transfers coming in. I think they've put, all the captains this year and all the people before them have just put so much effort into the culture and building the kind of team that they want. And I think that made it so easy to have us come in, and it made us all feel like at home. None of us felt like we were kind of an outsider. We came into this team and we were like, oh, we have a family here. And it was super easy just to adjust and kind of get used to everyone because they all had your back. So I think that was the coolest part.
You know, Jordy is the first to give credit to everybody else, but what is it like when you have her in the circle, especially on this stage? What kind of belief and confidence does that instill in an entire team?
Yeah, she is an amazing softball player, and she never wants to say it, but she is an amazing softball player, and I'm just proud of everything that she's doing this year because she just makes it look so easy, and she just does it, and it's so cool to watch, but it also just gives everyone on the team confidence to do everything that you want to do too. And I think having her back and knowing that the person next to you has your back too, it just makes it has you able to just go out and play freely, and it's really fun.
Okay, so you guys get in. I know it was like a late night flight. You get in 4 a.m. and quickly already went to the film. You've already seen Tennessee. I know it was way early in the season, but I guess take us through just the process of, okay, we're moving on. Now let's move on to the next one and win again. I guess, how did you guys immediately flip that switch?
Yeah, I think yesterday we came in and got ready, started preparing with film, and just had everyone kind of take on their part of what pitcher they're looking at, and kind of we just share that information and what our plan's going to be on each and every pitcher, and then kind of just getting our minds ready. And every day we're in practice, putting ourselves in a situation that we might find ourselves in next weekend, and just kind of getting our minds ready for each situation and being ready to execute. And just going into it, and again, honestly, not caring about who's in the other dugout. And we know that their team's they're a very gifted team, and they're very athletic, and they will fight and compete. And we're excited too because we want that, and we want to have someone that's going to compete against us. So.
Does it change at all, being that there's only one team? You know, that, you were maybe potentially going to face 3 other teams last weekend. Yeah. Does it change at all the prep going into this week?
I think it just helps us kind of get even more prep on what we want to look at. Obviously, you're scouting for multiple players and multiple pitchers when you're going into a game with multiple opponents. But this weekend kind of helps you kind of dive in and just lock in on what you want and figure out a plan prior to going in. And it doesn't have to be a lot of different pitchers from different teams. So it's kind of fun.
You know, everybody that we talked to, it's, even though you guys have not been here, you talked about this as your postseason, or your first postseason, you're not scared of, saying we've got big goals and we're not just happy to be here. How important is that mentality of we belong here, we want to advance too, we want to make it to Oklahoma City as well?
Yeah, I think we've taken pride in that in every situation we've been in this entire year. Washington, they had an amazing environment. It was loud, their music, we could barely talk to each other on the field while the music was playing. And we sat back and we're like, that's the kind of environment that OKC, where we want to go, and what super regionals and what regionals was like, and we want to embrace that environment. So I think taking that and just building off of all of our past games this year has really helped us just kind of go into postseason and be like, it's another game, because we've put ourselves in a situation that we've already done it before. So it's been really cool just to do that and kind of go in and be able to know what it takes to bring you back to what brings you peace and what you need in the game, so you're not bringing anxiety into it, but you're excited, but you're also able to manage it.
Okay, you guys lit up social media. What was it like just seeing the response from Husker Nation over the weekend?
I think it's amazing, just because the Husker Nation is just amazing to be a part of, and we love their support every single day, especially when they're filling Bullen Stadium. It's amazing, and just being able to see that, and they have our backs through every single thing that we do. It's been awesome to be a part of.
Okay, last thing, just what goes into this week for you guys to maybe go do and knock down another goal that you guys have that you're fully embracing?
I think it's just time to lock in on our mentality that we've done every single weekend, and just taking in all of our preparation that we've done this entire year is what's led up to this point, and there's nothing to lose, and it's just to go out there and go play softball.
Awesome. Best of luck. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
How great is she? Really enjoyed getting to chat with her. So genuine. She is also, I was talking to her about this time of year when you get through finals and all of that, and you can just focus on her sport. But she is interested in potentially maybe being a vet one day. So big animal lover, has 5 dogs. And so this whole softball team is huge dog lovers. I know Jordy and Olivia DiNardo, actually her Dalmatian, Louie, they live in my apartment complex, and so Sunny and her boy Louie like to play in the dog park sometimes. So it's a big dog-loving team, but they're special. It's a special group. They're fun to be around. Been able to chat with a number of them, obviously, throughout this course of the season. And so when you get to know them on that level and you chat with them, then you root for them even more. So I certainly hope they can extend that season and keep it going and roll it into another week coming into next week. And again, we will dive much more into this matchup with the experts tomorrow. Nate Rohr will be joining us for a couple of segments live. And so if you want to call in, ask him questions, text in, he'll be able to answer all those questions. And then also Holly Rowe, who you heard Coach Ravel talking earlier that ESPN sent in the A-team to this one. There's a lot of, they picked that one. And so it's their, I guess, maybe their top, if you want to say broadcast, being that they're sending their main broadcast team for college softball to the Nebraska-Tennessee Super Regional. And so we're going to talk with Holly Rowe and dive into all of that tomorrow as well. So we will get you set for that matchup coming up tomorrow night here on Sports Nightly. Going to get to a break, but on the other side of this, we're going to hear from one of track and field's Big Ten champions over the weekend, Arthur Peterson. In fact, a 2-time Big Ten champion in the javelin, going to join us next here on Sports Nightly. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics.
For farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices.
I'm Ann Meese, a farmer near Elgin, Nebraska. I grew up on this land, and we're dedicated to being good stewards and leaving it better for the next generation.
Since 1980, U.S. soybean farmers have boosted production by 130%, all while lowering emissions and improving land and water use. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Shop Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and save on our full lineup of new vehicles with Employee Pricing Plus going on right now. Lease the 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo for just $329 per month. Visit one of our 2 convenient locations in Blair or Bellevue, or online anytime at WoodhouseChryslerJeepDodge.com or WoodhouseCDJRBellevue.com today. 36 months, 5,000 miles per year with approved credit. Tax title license extra for well-qualified returning lessees. $1,999 down plus first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Stock number C250561. Offer expires 5/31/2025. See dealer for details.
Huskers fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Your Nebraska Lottery has a monopoly on fun. Actually, it's our new $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket, and it's also part of a terrific second chance promotion. Until July 22nd, enter any non-winning $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket online for a chance to be one of 10 weekly winners of $1,000 or the grand prize of $10,000. Pass go and enter today. $5 Monopoly 10X top prize odds 1 in 114,000. Monopoly is a trademark of Hasbro. Hasbro is not a sponsor of this promotion.
In the game of life, we all face tough moments. Sometimes it feels like we're up against a formidable block with no way through. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the final set. Reach out, speak up, and let's bump, set, and spike this challenge together. Because in Nebraska, we're more than players. We're a supportive community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every serve, every pass. Go Big Red. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Well, several Huskers brought home individual Big Ten titles over the weekend, including Arthur Peterson. So he's a senior out of Denmark and is part of the throws team that just seems to dominate every single track and field event. His name is all over the program record books. He actually was a redshirt last year, so did not compete last year because he was training for the Olympics, but won the Big Ten title back in 2023 and then came back and won the title again over the weekend, the javelin throw. And so I had a chance to chat with him about winning the Big Ten title and again, just being a part of this track and field program. Here's that conversation. How did that one feel, the second one, going back to back?
It felt nice. I have had my eyes on it for a while because I didn't compete last year, and last year Iowa, they won it, so we had to bring it back, and we had a good team going into it, so I was sure one of us was going to be able to do it, but I was a little bit surprised that it was me.
I should say, yeah, back-to-back, but the two times that you've competed in the seasons, you've been able to go back-to-back 2 times. But how did it feel just, you took last year off to be able to prepare for the Olympics, right, and took a redshirt year. How did it feel getting back into it? How did you feel different going into this season?
So with javelin, it's a long season. You here in the U.S. collegiate system, you start around early April or late March. And if you're a European thrower, you tend to go all the way into late August. So you got to get some rest off the body for the first couple of meets. And I actually got injured in my second meet, in my second throw. Got like a partial tear in my calf. So the trainers here and physios, they were giving me like a time horizon to be back and healthy again for like 5 weeks or something. And it would like match perfectly for Big Tens, but I wouldn't have a lot of like high intense practices before, so I was a little bit nervous going into it, but my leg held up, and I got another like 4 weeks till nationals, so I'll be able to have some more high intense practices and be able to probably get a better mark out there.
So I know as a team too, you guys went into it hoping to win another Big Ten title, but obviously more competitive this year with the additions from the schools from the West Coast. But how did you guys feel as a team leaving Oregon, and what some of the things you were able to accomplish before you go into the postseason here in the NCAAs?
I know for a lot of people it was kind of a little pre-nationals meet get the rust off the body competing there, because it is different. The wind, it can have a big effect, especially for javelin, and that you gotta kind of tailor your throw a little bit to that kind of throw, not with a high angle as usual in an open stadium, because the wind tends to be head on, because it's kind of like a horseshoe-shaped stadium. So that was nice, and they also had this big screen you're throwing into, and the camera was on you while you were running down, so was a little bit distracting.
Oh, but that's crazy to just see yourself running. Like, am I doing the right form?
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like we have a little bit of an edge on the other competitors that didn't throw here at Big Tens in Eugene, because some of the other throwers, they are from the east side of the country, and so we got that a little bit of practice in.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're from Denmark. You transferred here. Want to get to know you, your backstory, but let's start with why the javelin. You're one of the best to ever do it here at Nebraska. Your name's all over the record books. One of the best in the country. How did you pick up the sport in the first place? Where did it all begin for you?
So I have two older brothers back home in Denmark, and when I was younger, my dad, he tried to get them to throw. My dad, he went to the U.S. as well and threw javelin for University of Louisiana Monroe, and he tried getting my brothers to throw, and they did it for like a year each of them, and then they kind of said it wasn't really something for them. So he actually did not try to push me into the sport. I came myself when I was about 14, 15, and said, hey, why don't we give it a shot? And I just kept doing it and kept improving, and it allowed me to go to the U.S. like my dad and throw. And the funny fact is that my dad, he won his first nationals in javelin in Eugene as well. So trying to hope that I can repeat that.
Wow. So once you picked it up yourself, what did you love about it? Why did you want to keep pursuing it?
So I had done handball, which is a very big sport back home, for a few years before that. And it's a team sport. It's kind of like a mix between basketball and soccer. But my friends, they kind of quit the sport, and then I was doing the sport with someone I wasn't really that close to, and I was like, you know what, I'm not really enjoying it, and then I figured I'd try some individual sport instead. And it's an interesting sport. Like, you go a lot, like just you and your coach, or just you yourself, and throw, but there's a lot of other stuff to it, like a lot of running, jumping, weightlifting. So like some people, they burn out sometimes, but if you're able to kind of train in different ways, you can keep up the motivation, I would say.
So was it, being that your dad did it, was it something that you always hoped to do, or where did that come from, where you were like, okay, I want to go maybe get a college degree in the United States and do track and field at the NCAA level? Like, was it just something always that was a goal of yours, or where did that kind of develop, I guess?
Yeah, my dad always talked highly of his time in the U.S. I think he stayed in the U.S. for about 7-8 years, including his time in the NCAA, and he was in Louisiana. Then he also was training in Georgia for a while, and in California. So I started actually my collegiate career down in Texas at UT Arlington. I was there for 2 years, and then transferred up here because of the program and Justin St. Clair, and I've really enjoyed it. And it's nice that we get to, even though we're in the Midwest, we go to different meets all around the country, and so it don't matter. It don't affect me that much just being here in Nebraska.
You don't have too much of an accent, and you speak obviously very well English. Did you always grow up speaking English?
Yeah, in Denmark you start learning it in about 4th grade, if I remember correctly, and then you like have it just at school throughout, also in high school. And we also growing up, we would go to Florida once a year, and just kind of practice it a little bit too. So that's maybe why my accent is not as thick as other Danish people, but I think it's still there, because a lot of people still ask me the first time they hear me talk, like, where are you from? Are you German? Are you Swedish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure, and then you pick it back up more when you go back home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I talk a lot with my parents over the phone, so I kind of keep it up, but I've had times where when I go home, I talk very slow, and some words, it takes a while for me to remember some words, so it's a work in progress.
So is track a big sport in Denmark?
Not necessarily. The biggest one is soccer, and then handball that I did when I was younger, and then track and field. But it's quite different because you don't really have collegiate sports back home, and sports is very separated from school. You don't have like the way Americans have football in school. So it's a little shame sometimes, I would say, because a lot of people back home, they don't get into sports because you gotta make your own time, and it's not pushed as much in the school. But growing up in school, we would have like almost once a day, we would have some sort of like activity, like PE, you know, and that worked great, I would say.
Okay, so you mentioned it. You transferred here. Justin St. Clair is known as one of the best throws coach in the country, if not the best. Mm-hmm. What was your knowledge of Coach St. Clair coming here? Was that the big driving force in you wanting to transfer to Nebraska?
Yeah, my dad actually knows Justin St. Clair a little bit, and they've met on occasions before I got here. They both went to this javelin conference in Finland, I think about a year before I transferred, and they got to know each other a little bit, and I had also interacted with Justin before because there were some other Danish athletes that was up at South Dakota, where he was before, in North Dakota, and so we've been talking a little bit at meets as well.
So you were good. You were already a great javelin thrower before you got here, but what is it about Coach St. Clair that he gets even more and maybe takes it to another level?
I think a lot of javelin coaches in the U.S., they tend to focus a little bit too much on the weight room numbers, and javelin, you got to combine everything, and I would say the speed and explosiveness like that you do outside the weight room is far more important, and I think St. Clair agrees to that, and he tailors his programs like that, and he's also great at putting together a good team. At my old school, we were only 2, maybe 3 javelin throwers when we were the most, and here right now we are 8, and all very good. So it's definitely helps the everyday training having good teammates around you.
I was going to ask you about that, and just there's so much pride in if you watch a track meet on any broadcast, they're talking about, hey, Nebraska's known for what they do in the field events, especially the throwers and shot put, all of discus. Nebraska throwers are top in the country. What is the camaraderie like between the group? I mean, it just seems like you guys take a lot of pride and feed off of each other, I guess, and getting to the top of the podium.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big throws team. We're over 20 throwers, and especially like in the weight room, because we tend to, all the throwers lift together. We are there for each other, motivating each other. But then when we're doing our individual event before weights and all, we're kind of in our own groups. But then I feel like it's important to kind of push each other, and I think all the other throws groups, they do the same to each other. So that's a good thing about being here.
Okay, so when you do the same thing every time, right? I mean, it is pretty meticulous.
Yeah.
The delivery, all that. Do you know when, okay, this is a good throw, or do you know when something's a little bit off?
Yeah, in javelin, if something is off, you tend to feel it in the body. Like you'll feel like, oh, my back hurt in that throw. And sometimes, I mean, it works out and you throw far, but the very good throws, it actually feels better on the body because you're able to transfer the energy from the legs all the way up into your hand and into the javelin instead of having it go into the bag and down in the leg and getting stuck. So I don't know if you saw my throw on my third round, which was my furthest this weekend. In the beginning, I put my hand up a little bit because I knew it was good, but then I saw the javelin was going a little bit to the side, and then I took my hand down and I was like, maybe it wasn't a good throw, but it was far enough to win, so I was happy with that.
Do you have to think about the wind, too?
Yeah, I've competed a few competitions where the wind is coming straight from the side, and that messes up everything. It was last year in Oklahoma at a meet, and I actually ended up breaking a javelin because it just took the javelin so far to the side and it landed on small rocks.
Okay, so I guess football, was it new to you coming here to the United States, American football?
Yeah, it was. It took me a while to get into, and I'm still learning. There's a lot of stuff to remember, but I've started to enjoy it a lot watching, and it's a good school to be at if you enjoy it.
Absolutely. Have you tried to throw a football?
I've tried. It's not my proudest thing. It's some of my teammates, they're really good at it because they grew up in the U.S. throwing the football, but it's different the way you got to release it. But I would say that maybe it's a little bit closer to javelin than baseball pitchers, because baseball pitchers is more with the arm, and javelin you kind of got to get it over the top a lot. So maybe it is a little bit more similar to quarterbacks.
I was going to say, have you tried to see how far you could throw a football?
No, not really. I try to play a little bit safe, not risking my body.
True.
But you never know. Maybe I'll try it one day after my last competition, see what I can do.
Fun chatting with him again. That's Arthur Peterson of Nebraska Track and Field, the Big Ten champion in the javelin, and certainly one of the top javelin throwers in the country going into the postseason. So they've got regionals, and you have to qualify for the nationals. And a big thing, too, he just won a Big Ten title at the meet that nationals will be at. So that's the next goal, obviously, for him, is to compete for a national title. And several Huskers will be in contention to win national titles. And then, of course, as always, that team title as well, as they continue to build and grow, and so many good things with Justin St. Clair. I mean, there's a reason why he gets the best of the best, Arthur being one of those, since he's been here, certainly with the throws and all the both men and women that are top in the country in those events. Hey, Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee, where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happy. All right, coming up on the other side of this, Duke is going to bring you his joke of the week. Keep it here on Sports Nightly.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had a chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Your Nebraska Lottery has a monopoly on fun. Actually, it's our new $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket, and it's also part of a terrific second chance promotion. Until July 22nd, enter any non-winning $5 Monopoly 10X scratch ticket online for a chance to be one of 10 weekly winners of $1,000 or the grand prize of $10,000. Pass go and enter today. $5 Monopoly 10X top prize odds 1 in 114,000. Monopoly is a trademark of Hasbro. Hasbro is not a sponsor of this promotion.
Discover power, performance, and reliability at Woodhouse Chevy. Whether you're after a rugged truck, a stylish SUV, or a fuel-efficient sedan, the Chevy lineup features a vehicle fit for any lifestyle. Take advantage of special financing and exclusive offers happening now. View our inventory online or visit our 2 convenient locations in Omaha and Missouri Valley. Woodhouse Chevy. Together, let's drive.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health.
Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
It's employee pricing with the Ford crew.
Employee pricing for everyone. A great time to buy.
Now everyone pays what we pay.
On Ford trucks.
So you can tow what we tow.
SUVs.
Carpool like we carpool.
And Bronco Sport.
Off-road like we off-road. But what about my parking spot?
It's just employee pricing, not parking.
What a relief. I love that parking spot.
Now get employee pricing available across a full lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Employee pricing, you pay what we pay. Only from your local Ford dealer.
Oh, should I make name tags for everyone?
It's employee pricing for everyone. They don't actually work here.
Can I still make them?
Sure.
Available on the purchase or lease of select new 2024 and 2025 Ford and Lincoln vehicles. U.S. residents only. Prior purchases and AXZD plan ineligible. Place a retail order or take delivery from an authorized Ford or Lincoln dealer stock by 7/7/25. Exclusions apply. See a participating dealer for details.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. 402-413-2400 is that number if you want to text in, because you're going to want to text in here in just a few minutes. I'll tell you why. But before we do that, did get a text from Crypto on the text line. He said, "Hi, Jessica. It was nice to see how Greg had his hand in the game last night." GBR, absolutely. And Nick talked about that earlier. I'm sure Ben will bring that up. He posted about that on social. So when we have Ben on, we'll have to ask him about it. But there's been a few times this year that they said that they can feel his presence with them in the booth. And speaking of Greg, and on a lighter, funnier note, flip switch. You know, if you've been a longtime listener of this program, you know I've had several issues with saying how that saying goes, flip the switch, switch the flip, whatever. And Greg used to always make fun of me for that or give me a hard time about that lovingly. And Shane on the chat was quick to bring that up because I actually got it right in the interview with Ava Kuzzac earlier. So kudos to me. I'm this week's winner for myself. But 402-413-2400 if you want to text in, give some feedback to Duke, because it is the joke of the week. We normally are going to do this on Thursdays, but with the scheduling this week, it worked out better for Duke to do it tonight. And since I'm here solo, I said, hey, hop on in. Let's bring Joke of the Week here tonight on a Wednesday night show. This is his second go at it here this season. So he opened up with he had a pretty good opening performance a couple weeks ago. So he's back again. Feels pretty good about this one tonight, right, Duke?
Yeah, I do feel pretty good about it.
All right. Let's have it.
All right. So there's this elementary school teacher. And she's giving a lesson to her kids, and this one's about the word definitely. So she wants all the kids to give a example sentence using the word definitely. So one kid's like, oh, grass is definitely green. Another one's like, oh, the sky is definitely blue. And then this one kid asks, do farts have lumps in them? And she goes, so that's not using the word definitely. And the kid goes, well, then I definitely just pooped my pants.
Oh, nice. I had no idea where you're going with that one. I like it. That's funny. Okay, so 402-413-2400, or let us know in the chat what you think. We'll have your reactions to Duke's Joke of the Week coming up on the other side of this one. What is your approach to this? Like, how are you going about it? I know Cole had a joke book. There's different ways to go about finding jokes that land.
I kind of just done Safari searches or Google searches for it. I found this one a while ago. I kind of made it a little more family friendly than what it used to be, but we made it work. And Cole liked to do just those one-liner dad jokes. I like more little setup.
I do. I like it. And no notes. You just so delivery for me was on point. And I'm glad you changed it up. I didn't have to use the dump button. Dump
I had
button.
to make sure.
No pun intended there with the dump button on the joke. Good stuff. Thank you very much. We'll look forward to hearing what folks have to say about it. We're going to take a break. We'll have your thoughts on Duke's Joke of the Week coming up on the other side of this.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
For a limited time, Woodhouse Ford is offering something special. Employee pricing for everyone. For eligible customers, you pay what we pay on 2024 and 2025 Ford models. No negotiations, just straightforward savings. Whether you're looking for a rugged F-150, an adventure-ready Bronco, or a spacious Escape, the road to savings starts at Woodhouse Ford. Visit us online or in-store at one of our 3 locations in Blair, Omaha, and Plattsmouth.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Hey Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier. Welcome back. Final segment here of Sports Nightly. In case you missed it, Duke just delivered his joke of the week, and we have some reaction for you rolling in. Duke, Doug in Norfolk said, I give it a strong 9. Pretty good. Art in Los Angeles said, Duke is my favorite jokester. I give it a 10. I love poop jokes. You got several chuckles in the chat. Shane gave you an 8.12. 4 hours to Lincoln gave you 10 with several exclamation points. You got some ha 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 ha's. 9.23 out of Justin. Dryce gives you a 9. Duke told a Dookie joke. I'm assuming that's what that means. 10. And then Crypto, of course, he's very strategic with his rankings. He gave you an 8.5. It was kind of smelly. LOL. I give him a perfect 10 for being so cool. And then female Casey Royals fan from Nebraska did not like it at all. She said that was not funny. So she did not give you a rating, but she didn't think it was funny. But for the most part, 4 hours to Lincoln again said, when a guy named Duke gives you a poop joke, gotta appreciate that. Bravo, my friend. So you got some good feedback. So I think you improved again this week. Oh, you're not on the mic. Sorry. I sprung that on you.
Yeah, no, I felt better about this one coming into it, and, we performed. We went out there, and we just played my brand of joke telling, I guess.
Just delivered it. Oh, Shane said, I don't think Colio had these ratings. No. Cole was pretty up and down. He'd maybe have a little blah week, and then he'd deliver a 10 week. He was not as consistent. So we'll see if you can deliver with your consistency week in and week out. Tim in Minnesota, 7.5. But he did say that was the first time I really learned about Arthur Peterson. I really enjoyed hearing interactions each time. Now, Arthur, my family and I spent a year in Denmark when I was little, so appreciate that, Tim. He always chimes in on the joke ratings, so yeah, getting lots of good feedback for you. And Crypto's a big fan. He's a big fan of everybody, so don't get your head too big, but he's a big fan of you, Duke. So feeling pretty good about this new role. But are you going to be able to do it, though, because you're going away for the summer?
Well, this is my last show, actually, but I can call in. We can do some jokes.
We can figure out something.
Yeah, we'll make it work. We'll make it work.
People are now going to be set on you doing it, so we can't let the people down.
I won't let the people down. Can't.
All right. Well, good performance. We appreciate it. So thanks again for doing that.
Yeah.
Again, Duke Root, everybody. We'll have to figure out how we can move forward with Duke's joke of the week, given that he's going back home for the summer. But he will be back in the fall, and so we'll try to figure out if we can do this virtually. Hey, we do it all the time. But that's about going to wrap up for us. So we've got, again, a full 2 hours coming up tomorrow night on the show, as I will continue talking the ball bat sports and postseason for baseball as they look to keep the season alive. Big one against Oregon on Friday night. So Ben McLaughlin will be here. He and Nick had such a great call last night. I know a lot of folks heard and have been commenting about Greg being there with them, and so can't wait to hear him talk about the win last night, but then also previewing Oregon. So we'll dive into all of that and what it's going to take for the Huskers to advance and maybe move on to the semifinals. And then Nate Rohr will be here. He is with the team, traveled with the team, so he's in Tennessee already. We'll get a good feel for practice and all of the media days and all of that. We'll be able to dive in more to the matchup with Tennessee. And then Holly Rowe also, I'm going to chat with her. So if you have questions for any of those guys you want me to ask, pass them along. Gladly ask those questions to any and all of our guests tomorrow night, but should be a fun show. And Holly Rowe, so she'll be on the sideline, of course, and as we've talked about the A-team being on this call. So, but, you know, Holly's been, she covers every single sport and has been the main sideline reporter for the Women's College World Series for several years. So she's got a good view of Jordy and has covered Jordy in the College World Series in Oklahoma City, dating back to her time at Oklahoma. So I think she'll have some fun stories to be able to talk about. Just overall, just the growth, though. And you know, we've talked about that with volleyball, too, here over the last couple of years. But as ESPN and these networks and Fox and NBC, CBS continue to put an emphasis on women's sports, and ESPN is going to put some of these softball games on ABC as well, as they have done the last couple of seasons. So it continues to grow and continues to be a big emphasis in Nebraska getting the A-team production team and talent team for the Super Regional. It seems to be, if you are on social media with college softball, there's a lot of intriguing matchups going into Super Regional weekend. But there's certainly a lot of excitement surrounding this one here with Nebraska and Tennessee. So I'm excited for it, and we'll dive way more into all the X's and O's, if you will, tomorrow night here with Nate Rohr, who will be on the call for us once again all weekend long. All right, that is going to do it for us. We're going to be back for a full 2 hours, fun full 2 hours tomorrow night. Thanks to Duke and David for helping us out here tonight, for Nick for being here with us. I'm Jessica Coody, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night here on Sports Nightly.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Want to boost Nebraska's economy and help the planet? It's as easy as filling up your tank. Switch to soy-based biodiesel to cut greenhouse gases by up to 74% and support biodiesel growth.
I'm Greg Anderson, a farmer near Newman Grove, Nebraska, and biodiesel has transformed our farm. It cuts emissions, raises the cetane number, and improves fuel lubricity.
So ask for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, economy, and Nebraska soybean farmers. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future. future.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
In the game of life, we all face tough moments. Sometimes it feels like we're up against a formidable defense with no way through. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the final whistle. Reach out, speak up, and let's tackle this together. Because in Nebraska, we're more